Okay, perfect. All right. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Erin Maney. I'm the Manager of Communications and Community Engagement, and I'm joined by my colleague, Rob Pierkowski. Rob is in the online teaching unit as well, and so he will be helping me out with the chat. So if you have any questions as we go along, please feel free, pop them in the chat. Rob can interrupt me and also probably answer a lot of the questions as we go. He'll also be sharing several links for you. But all of the links are aggregated on one document. So we have a bit.ly link that we'll put in the chat for you. And you can follow along with me on all of those resources if you would like, or you can use that as a reference to come back to. So today we're talking about community resources and engagement that have been created for you for the SUNY Online community. And so our past sessions are listed here on the chart. In February, we talked about an online course syllabus, and in March, we talked about effective online discussions. We do have 2 more coming up, one later this month, a part 1 of some cool tools for learner engagement, and then in May, the second part of that session. And so all of those, you'll see this site coming up in some of the resources that I'm sharing with you today about how to register, and that's also where we put all of our recordings. We have a huge playlist there of past sessions as well. So that's where you can find everything. I'm going to move over here. So Rob put this bit.ly in the chat. This, again, is just a Google Doc to aggregate all of the things that I'm going to be sharing with you today. These were created by various areas of SUNY Online, primarily the SUNY Online Teaching unit, again, which is Rob and also Alexandra Pickett, who is unable to join us today. So these are really kind of focused around a couple different areas. So we're going to look at connecting within the community. We're going to look at how you can volunteer, how you can participate, what things you may be interested in attending, and then some final resources to share with you. Okay. So I'm going to, a couple people in the waiting room. There we go. I'm going to get started with the Connect. So this document, you can follow along, click on all the links, or come back to it later. All right, so the first thing that I want you to be aware of is that we have an online teaching website, and it is just online.suny.edu/online teaching. On this site, you can find numerous resources for IDs, for new faculty, for experienced online teaching faculty, and for online program development. The Engage tab is the one where many of the things I'll be talking to you today come from. And so the first one we wanted to talk about is becoming a fellow. So SUNY Online Teaching has a fellowship community, and this community is robust. We have over 3,000, I think, members at this point. And this is really a self-selected role. If you take a look here and see what each of them are, you might just be interested in online education and wanting to learn a little bit more. So you could join as an interested fellow. You might be experienced. You've had some online teaching under your belt, and you want to engage in the community in more meaningful ways. You might be an expert online instructional designer, so we have a role specifically for you there. You may consider yourself a coach and mentor, or want to coach and mentor others, and that would also be fine. We have a mentorship program that I'm going to show you in a little bit here. You also may self-select as an online innovator or researcher, and that may be your primary role in you're engaged in some scholarly work. You also may not be from SUNY, and we love our friends of SUNY, and we have a role just for you so that you can stay connected and engaged and be able to partake in all of the resources and events that we have available. So take a look at those. If you are not already a fellow, we invite you to join. There's a quick little form to fill out, and you'll receive a letter after that. We use our fellows list in a variety of ways. So that is our primary method of communication distributions. Any announcements or promotion that we want to do, we send through our fellows list. And in addition to that, we leverage the expertise of our fellows for different projects and opportunities throughout the year. And as SUNY has new initiatives, we look to our fellows lists for some of those things. I think you'll see them kind of integrated into some of the other things that I share with you today. So again, another way to connect is to join our Facebook community. If you are on Facebook, this is a public group, although when you click to join, you need to answer a couple questions so that we have a little sense of who you are. So for example, what is your institution? And do you teach online or do you support online programs, those kinds of things? And then we would ask you to agree to our community guidelines, just basic posting etiquette about, being kind and courteous in this sort of online environment. And so in the online teaching community, you can see we post events, we post opportunities for you throughout the community. Other people in the community post some great things here too. We also post job positions that come up, and we have other kinds of conversations that occur here. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. The other thing that's nice about this community is that we have something called guides. This is kind of a new Facebook feature. And we were able to develop guides for you around some different things that we promote in SUNY. So you can add yourself to the member map to see where everybody's from. You can join as a fellow. You can learn about our community and get access to a whole bunch of our resources there. And then there's another one here about how you can share and engage in the community. So these guides are nice. They kind of walk you through a whole bunch of resources that are available within the online teaching community. So feel free to explore that. That is for anyone, whether you are SUNY or non-SUNY. Now, if you are a SUNY person from SUNY campus, we have our Yammer group, Microsoft product, Yammer, which is actually transitioning to something called Viva Engage. It'll look the same. There'll just be additional functionality for our SUNY folks. So this, again, is sort of like a Facebook kind of community, but it's based off of Microsoft Teams, and it's integrated into those products. And so this is a closed group for SUNY folks only, but there is an online teaching group in this platform. And here is where we post things that are specific to internal sort of SUNY information, okay? So those are a couple ways that you can connect. You can join as a fellow. You can join our Facebook group for networking and communication, and you can join the Yammer group if you are a SUNY person. So before I go on to some ways about volunteering, are there any questions? Like we're good. Thanks for all those links, Rob. Okay, let's close Connect. So now we're going to look at some opportunities to volunteer. We, again, as I mentioned before, we want to leverage our expertise from our community and from our fellows. One of the ways that we can do that is to connect people in a mentoring network. And so there are numerous ways here that you can read about mentoring. And there's a button to volunteer, short form, but then you can take a look at our mentoring network. So these are folks who have self-expressed about being interested in being a mentor, and they are organized by discipline. So for example, if you are in the social sciences and you want to see who is in here and what they might be interested in mentoring, they talk about their strengths, they link to the college website, and they provide their email. And they will also tell you what disciplines they feel comfortable mentoring in, which is nice to know. Okay, so you can kind of take a look there. And all that we're trying to do is provide you with these names so that you can reach out if you're looking for assistance, if maybe you're a new faculty and you're looking for someone to assist you in your discipline. If you're an ID and you're looking to connect people across campuses, this is a really nice way to do that, to match folks to their interests and their goals. So have a look, explore the mentoring network, and see if that might be something you're interested in volunteering to do. The other volunteer opportunity that we have in SUNY is our course reviewer network. Many of you are familiar with the extensive course review process that is the Oscar rubric, and many of our folks listed here are certified online or OSCOR course reviewers. Other folks have self-selected to be course reviewers, and they have experience using other rubrics. They have been trained in Quality Matters or the COLT rubric or any of the other ones that are out there, and they note that in their little bios here. So we've created this course reviewer network. If a campus is looking for someone to do course reviews, these are the folks that have said they are willing to do so, and you can reach out to them. So again, this lists their primary discipline, what courses they're willing to review, what their availability is, and their experience. And if they are an OSCOR course reviewer, they will have the badge there to indicate such. So SUNY Online does not match people up. We just provide the listing of folks who have volunteered in these areas, and we leave it to the campuses to make those connections. Many of these are reviewed annually. So we always go back to the folks who have volunteered as mentors or course reviewers and ask, are you still interested this year? Is this something you want to continue to do? And we make sure to try to update this as frequently as possible. Okay. So those are two fun ways to volunteer. It's great for your resume, or also just for some practice. If you are looking to develop a new course, it's great sometimes to match up with a course reviewer and have somebody, particularly if they're OSCOR trained, to be able to walk you through that process. So I highly encourage you to take a look here at that. Okay, so on this agenda, we are now down to participate. And we have so many ways that you can participate. I'm really proud of a lot of our programs to help engage folks across our system and beyond. The first one is the SUNY Effective Online Practices Award Program. This is an annual program where we collect and showcase online best practices, strategies, innovations, and programs across our SUNY system. We just conferred our awards in March at the annual summit for this year, and you can see those down below on this webpage. But our tracks include teaching and learning practices, and this is how the program really started. It was launched by collecting quality teaching and learning practices, and then we moved beyond that to try to encompass more areas of online teaching and learning. And so now we have course quality practices, we have student support practices, enrollment and recruitment, program partnerships, and then our new one just last year was diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. And so as we've been doing this since, I believe, 2015, 2016, we have been collecting all of these submissions into a repository. So you can view the effective practices here by searching entries by keyword, by campus, by award, by year, or by track. And so when you pull one up, you'll be able to click on the title. You'll get some detailed information about the effective practice. And folks send us all kinds of things. A lot of people will send samples, links to artifacts, and a lot more. So our repository is over 70 entries at this point. And I encourage you to take a look there and see what you can find. We put out the call every year for effective practices in, it's late November, early December. So if you are someone from a SUNY campus, we encourage you to take a look at that coming out in the fall and think about what it is that you're doing and if it fits in any of those tracks. We love seeing kind of cross-program, cross-discipline collaborations. And there are many, many here that are some great examples that you can look at. Another thing that you can participate in is something called our Fellow Chats. I mentioned to you about Open SUNY Fellows, and we've really kind of expanded the Fellow Chats to become showcase webinars now. They're not limited to just SUNY Online Teaching Fellows. If you are anyone in our SUNY community, and we also invite folks outside of our SUNY community who want to share something with the community to lead a webinar. And so these showcase webinars, or formerly called Fellow Chats, really are a way for you to share what you know around a certain area or a topic. And there are 2 times a year that we formally do this. One is National Distance Learning Week, and that is generally in November every year. And the other is Open Education Week in right around end of March or beginning of April every year. Those are two formal events, but we also host showcase webinars throughout the year as people come forward and say, I have this strategy, this best practice, or I have this tool I'm using in a certain way, and I'm getting good results, and I'd love to share it with the community or get some feedback, from the community of practice. We do webinars to do that, to provide that platform for folks in our community. We also have an online teaching monthly community meeting that happens the second Tuesday of every month. And that is another place where folks from our community can join and showcase something that you're doing around online teaching and learning. If you have something like that and you're thinking about, how might this work? What might it look like? Or you have more questions about that, you can always shoot me an email. And at the end of this, I can put that in the chat for you. But I would be your contact for setting up a webinar. All right, so I encourage you to take a look at some of these past ones here, and we have more on another page that I'll show you soon. Another program that we also do in the fall is our Online Teaching Ambassador Program, and I saw a couple ambassadors actually on this webinar today. So congratulations to you, and thank you for joining us. So our Online Teaching Ambassador Program is really to recognize those outstanding individuals who are the champions and cheerleaders for online teaching. They are the advocates on their campus. And every year they are nominated by their campus instructional designers. Campuses can nominate 2 folks. And we showcase them with a webpage, an individual webpage here that gives their bio and a brief testimonial about online teaching and learning. And we collect those, and then they are recognized at our annual summit in an ambassador showcase where they earn a certificate and a badge. And so give you an example of one page here. So this is Simone. She is our ambassador from downstate for this year. And we've got her bio here and her testimonial. And so these are annual. We've been doing this since, I also want to say, 2016. So we have quite a collection of ambassadors. The ambassadors then engage in our community of practice in a variety of ways throughout the year. They have the opportunity to do video interviews, to write blog posts, to do webinars, create resources, submit advice for those who are new to online teaching. So there are a lot of different ways that we encourage them to get involved. You can look at ambassadors by campus, and you can see for each cohort who was nominated and read a little bit more about them. A lot of our ambassadors become mentors, become course reviewers, or leverage their expertise in other ways. Okay. Another opportunity for you is to nominate an online course for observation. So when we had Blackboard, we had a whole gallery of courses that had been created in Blackboard to showcase what an exemplary online course looks like. And we're working on collecting online courses for observation that now use Brightspace. If you're not from SUNY, we have transitioned from Blackboard to Brightspace. And so this page here goes through some of the criteria to consider about what makes a course an exemplar model. If you are interested in submitting a course or nominating a course, whether it be your own or someone else's, there's a button there where you can nominate. And this is something where we try to create a collection, particularly for those who are new to online teaching, so they can look at a course, take a little tour. We generally ask for a video tour of the course, and then we ask for a copy of the course with all student data removed from it, so that folks can have a look around and see. So give this a look over, and if this is something that you think a course that meets this criteria, we would love to hear about that. All right, and then this page really just kind of goes through a lot more detail and sort of things that I haven't talked about yet about how the ambassadors can get involved, but really anybody in our community, how you can get involved about writing blog posts, submitting advice, an effective practice, doing a webinar. We have a whole collection of discipline-specific resources that have been collected in Google folders that are editable, so everybody can contribute to them. And we also have a collection of video testimonials on our YouTube channel, which I'm going to share that as a resource with you as well. So if you wanted to contribute in any of those ways, or you have some other idea about how you can contribute, even if it doesn't fit in this list, we're always looking for great ideas. But our job is really to showcase the great work that's being done across our campuses and make sure other campuses know about it. A lot of times, folks are doing similar things. And so to be able to bring you together and to share and collaborate is really kind of what our mission is. For all of our activities, we have a badging program. And so we use Credly as our badging platform. And on Credly, you can look at all of our different badges. If you are someone who participates in our online teaching community, we have a badge for you. We have a badge for leadership in our community. We have different badges for our fellows that reflect the role that you represent. We have badges for our summit, for Oscar training, for our ambassadors, and the list goes on and on. But we want to do something to formally recognize the contributions to our community, and that's really what our badges help to do. They indicate competencies for certain things, if it's like an Oscar training program, and they also are acknowledgement of contributions across the board. So we have a number of ways that we try to do that. All right, that was a lot for participation. Are there any questions on that before I get into things you can attend? It's looking quiet. We'll have some time at the end too. I know I won't take a full hour. All right, so down here by attend, we have some events every year that I wanted to be able to share with you. And so the first one here is our annual SUNY Online Summit. This year was our 24th year, I think, of the summit. And with the fourth year of the actual SUNY Online Summit, but we've gone through a number of different names over the past several years, 20 plus years. And so this is the past summit that just happened in March, and you can come here to the recordings tab and you can look at the whole program, and you can get links to all the recordings and the slides from each session. And we do this every year. So we have past years that are listed for you that you can access if you're interested in topics. And so we try to maintain this repository of all of our summits, our speakers, and our presentations. And this just kind of gives you an idea. This year's summit was held in Syracuse. It was the first time we've been back together face-to-face since 2020, and which actually that one was in New York City. And so this was face-to-face, and then we always have a live stream of the sessions as well. And then we make the recordings available afterwards. So take a look at the SUNY Online Summit. If you've never been, it's a wonderful opportunity to meet your SUNY colleagues. We always like to have sessions from our folks at SUNY as well. One of the biggest highlights of our program is something called the Unsession. And the Unsession is pretty much an open forum for anyone to come up and share something that they're doing. And we collect all of those things. So we have documents from every Unsession, from every summit. And you could just go under the program to find that. That was day 2. In addition to the annual summit, every month we have the online teaching webinar series, which you are a part of today. And so the spring schedule is here, which this is ours today, but you can also go over here to our playlist at the top, and the playlist has sessions from back here to fall and spring 2021. And so you can get the recording of each session as well as the resources that were shared in each of those sessions. So feel free to take a look back. There are some here on Oscar, which is our course quality rubric. If you're not familiar with Oscar, you could watch one of those recordings. We have a checklist for remote teaching. We have a session on supporting online student success. We have sessions on ensuring authentic online assessment and much, much more. So I would encourage you to come here. This is where we post all of our recordings for these sessions, but it's also the same site where you can register. So if you're interested in some of the other sessions coming up, the cool tools that we're still going to do later this month and in May, you can register. Now, in addition to SUNY webinars, we also will promote webinars that are happening on our campuses that we are made aware of, or from other partner organizations that we are made aware of. And so we have a webinar and recording site here, and this is searchable. If you just want to see webinars, you can search by type, and you can just see what webinars are coming up. If you want to, there it goes. If you want to search our recordings, you can do that instead. You can change the type to recordings, and we have a huge repository of recordings from 2020 forward. You can also search by year. You can search by host. So these are all of the different organizations who have given webinars that we are collecting. And so this is a large database of those kinds of items. UB has several things that are coming up as part of their different workshop series. And so you'll see some of those here. We also have things like VoiceThread. We do things from D2L Brightspace, anything that is something that you might want to make yourself, avail yourself of their sort of online self-serve resources. USDLA does a Friday kind of chat webinar. And so you can take a look there. So lots of opportunities, not just within SUNY Online Teaching, but beyond. Right. So those are a couple different things you can attend. And then the last thing we wanted to share were a few other resources. These are all really resources, right? But we do have a number of things that we wanted to make sure that you're aware of. And the first one is this Interested in Teaching Online self-serve, self-paced course. So the Interested course it's a website, it is a web resource, and it has a whole bunch of different areas that you can go through, different modules. And when you go through each of these, you can earn a badge for the completion of this course. You can choose how to go through this if you just want to go step by step, or if you want to pick and choose topics along the way. This kind of walks you through that. If you're interested in teaching online, or you haven't really had a lot of experience teaching online, this goes over some of the basic competencies that one would need to know. And it talks about some of the tools and technologies to help you get there. This is also, we do a session, a whole webinar just devoted to an overview of this course. And on that online teaching webinar series playlist, there is a recording of that. So if you're interested in looking at this course a little bit more in depth, you can go over to the recording and look at it a little bit closer. One of the first things on here is this readiness link. And this readiness link takes you here to a page about understanding if you are ready to teach online. Kind of goes over some of the basics, what is assumed competencies, what are the technical skills that you may need. And embedded throughout here are videos from folks who are in fact online teaching, either instructors or instructional designers. And so this is kind of a collection of that information. The other resource to be sure that you're aware of is our OSCAR rubric. And this is our course quality review rubric. This site in particular will take you through all of the sections of OSCAR and all of the standards. And so OSCAR is 50 standards, and they are all broken down here in these categories. Each one gives you the standard, what it looks like in an online class, and it also gives you some annotations about how you can incorporate that in your course if it doesn't already exist. There are sections in here for regular and substantive interaction, and including how OSCAR supports RSI, and some indicators there to help you understand how to incorporate that in your course as well. One of the things to note is this link for Get OSCAR. If you are interested in getting a copy of the rubric, you would click on Get OSCAR and you can download the most current version of the rubric. And then you could take a look there. So this site is the companion site that really goes through each standard. It talks about, it has a little video to talk about each of these standards, it reviews the explanation, it talks about RSI, and then again, some general suggestions for how to refresh your course to incorporate each standard. So very comprehensive if you're not familiar with OSCAR. An overview of the OSCAR rubric is also available here on the playlist. We have several sessions that we have done on OSCAR, from just an overview of the OSCAR rubric to specifically RSI standards, and also how to implement a full course quality review and refresh process. So again, on this playlist, several different options for looking at past sessions on OSCAR. We also have a playlist on our YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel is very robust. We have numerous videos here, over 300. Our most current playlist is our SUNY Online Summit. We have all of our recordings posted here. We also have testimonials from people in our community. We have things grouped by here are past summits. We have ambassador talks, interviews with our ambassadors. We have a playlist for implementing OSCAR, National Distance Learning Week. So as you browse through the YouTube channel, you can see all of the different videos that we have there around the different topics. You can subscribe to this channel if you are on YouTube, and then you will get notifications every time we post a new video to your inbox. Probably one of our most popular pages on the online teaching site is this self-paced and self-serve resources. And it really is just a collection of links and resources that are available around a few different professional development topics. So if you are a new online faculty, we have a link here for resources for you, a link on remote or flexible instruction. We have a link to our Brightspace templates that have been created in our migration to the new DLE. The Blackboard course templates are still there. We also have asynchronous online resources, resources on course quality. And then there's this entire little micro-learning playlist for new and experienced online faculty and instructional designers. And so this page really is a good one to bookmark. If you are looking for some of our resources, chances are they may be linked here somewhere for you. So this is on our online teaching site as well. This next one sort of piggybacks off of OSCAR, but we have a partnership with the Online Learning Consortium, OLC, and they use the OSCAR rubric as part of their OLC scorecard. And so you could take a look at that. The other thing that they offer is the Instructional Designer Certificate Program. And so if you are a new ID and you're, or if you're a current ID just looking to build your skills, this goes through course design and development, the whole process. And so this is a way to sort of stay current with best practices. And then this also certifies you as an OSCAR reviewer as part of that certificate program. All right, and then I mentioned this briefly at the beginning, but this particular site, this online teaching site, is really a robust resource. There are many, many things here that have been compiled for you. One thing I didn't mention, underneath this header image, we have our blog. And so we have ambassadors who have contributed to our blog over the years. We also have community members who have written articles for us for the blog. But this blog, and you can just see down here, these numbers help you migrate. I mean, there's 89 pages of blog content, which is amazing that we have this at this point. But this really was developed, I believe, in 2013. And so we have collected a lot of great information. And so we leverage the expertise of our fellows, as I mentioned. And one of the ways we do that is giving them this platform to really share what they know. And so if you have a topic that you're passionate about or that you've researched about and you want to write a blog post for us, just let us know. Just reach out. We'd be more than happy to coordinate with you on that. And then lastly, our main website is online.suny.edu. This site is also how you can get to our webinars. But in addition to that, if you click on support and services for campus online initiatives, that takes you to this grid where you can really look at our resources for campuses, for community engagement, for faculty support, professional development that's offered through our Center for Professional Development, research and innovation, and student supports. And so we have used this site to kind of aggregate and pull together all of our resources that are out there in a variety of ways in a one-stop shop. So this is how you can get to the online teaching website, is how you can get to the interested course, and many other places that may be of interest to you. So I am going to just sort of pause here and stop and see if there's any questions. You can feel free to type in the chat, but you can also just open your mics now and feel free to have just a conversation with me. And also if there's anything that you want me to show again, because that was a lot. And I'm aware that that was a lot, but if there's anything that you want me to share or show again, I'd be happy to do so. If you are someone who has participated in any of these things and you have any feedback or want to encourage others to participate, we'd love to hear from you as well. So just sort of open the floor for a few minutes. Did we have any questions come up, Rob? I wasn't sure.
Just this, there's one in the chat right now. What are the request and approval processes for posting upcoming webinars online?
Sure. So I'm going to put my email in here. You just send the information to me. So I am the one that manages the that webinar and recording site where you saw the UB sessions coming up. So I just look for a brief description, the date and time, and who the host campus is. We'll be happy to promote those kinds of things. You're welcome.
So Mary asked for a live list of all the links. So I just put in the chat. I'm going to put in the chat right now a link to our main document that has all the links in it, which is right here. Yeah.
And so when we post the recording, Mary, also on our website, when we post the recording, we will also post a link to this document too, so that folks can get it again if you lose it. So again, this is the website for these webinars. And on the playlist over here, we'll post not only the recording, but the resource that goes along with the recording.
Thank you.
Very welcome.
Hi, Erin. This is Jennifer from Brockport.
Hi, Jen.
How are you?
Good. Good to see you.
Good too. So I went through and got the certification as an Oscar reviewer through OLC. So I did fill out one of that you shared about being able to engage by helping with the, what is it that I just did?
Course reviewer?
Yeah, for the course reviewer network. So I just submitted that. And great. I am also one of the 2019 Brockport ambassadors that got selected.
Right.
For the fellowship. I know you went over it, but I'm just wondering if that is something else that I can help with, or is that somebody that's not in SUNY? Like, if you can just
sure.
What kind of role that would be if I was to apply for fellowship?
Sure. So the online teaching fellowship, again, so it's great that you're already engaged as an ambassador and, and now a course reviewer and so forth. That is one of the ways that we use this community. So, to be an ambassador, you have to be nominated, right?
Oh, okay.
But so some folks might want to engage in the community, and this is a way they can do that by becoming a fellow and self-selecting their role. So by being an ambassador, you've been nominated, you're part of the community. You could certainly join here to indicate what kind of role you think you best fit, because the role does talk about not just what your experience is, but what you are sort of committing to, I should say, right? Okay. So it kind of says, here's the expectations, right?
Got it. Because I was looking at the different badges and I was like, there's a couple of the badges that looked, pretty interesting. I wasn't able to make it to the SUNY Summit this year. I am going to be going to the Conference on Instructional and Design next month.
CIT.
Yeah, so I'm already registered and prepared to go to that. but I wasn't able to make it to the SUNY Summit. But I was looking at the different badges, and I see that there's badges for online leadership and things like that. So, and I've also already got my badge and certification as an online student support. I did the
okay. You did that course as well
already.
Yep. But that's great. So a lot of our training programs, the CPD issues those badges. And then the community engagement piece where you sort of take that learning, right, that training and apply it in some of our programs is the part where we issue badges, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Jennifer mentioned CIT, and for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with it, CIT is an annual event, Conference on Instruction and Technology, and this is going to be in Oswego this year. And registration is open, and they have asked me to promote that. So just gonna take a quick drink. What else? And it's great to see so many names I actually don't know, which is really encouraging. We hope that you will, that you found something that maybe is interesting to you that you can engage in. And for those of you that I do know that I see all the time, it's sometimes, I hope you just learn something new or another way that you can engage or share with your faculty if you are an instructional designer or director.
Hi, Erin, can I say something?
Of course. Hi, Donna.
Hello. I am glad I wasn't, as I started looking at this session, I was thinking, oh, I probably know all about these things, but I was really happy to see the page that you have other institution sessions that are running. So it gave me some ideas to post some of the sessions that we're doing at NTRIP. So I'm looking forward to being able to look at that and see what other things we can learn from other campuses. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great, Donna. I'm glad you found that helpful. So that actually started during 2020 when we created our COVID response site. We were kind of collecting all of these opportunities for people everywhere that were being offered. And then when we decommissioned the COVID site, we decided that this was still really valuable. And all of those recordings, we brought them over to this site and now just continue to add to them as people make us aware of things going on in our community.
And at Brockport, when it comes to the reviews of online courses, right now the way it's set up, the faculty can request it. It's not a requirement. Mm-hmm. Is that something that is true across all SUNY campuses? Do you know, or are there campuses that make it, make a requirement for all online courses to be reviewed on a, like a scheduled basis?
So 64 campuses, probably 60 different ways of doing it, right? Yeah. So some campuses do have a formalized review process for new course development, and others it is if a faculty requests that their course is reviewed.
Because I know when COVID hit and a lot of these in-persons had to be forced to go online, it was kind of a mess. And then some faculty were like, oh, I actually liked teaching online. And so they decided to keep it in that format, but they've never gone through any kind of formal training. Right. And we encourage them to have their courses to be reviewed just to make sure that they're meeting those best practices, but it's not a requirement. And I feel like if SUNY really wants to make sure that our online programs are really robust, there should be, some kind of a requirement there, other than when it's time for renewals of, for the faculty renewals. I think at that time they will ask for OSCAR reviews because part of that renewal process is having their courses to be to have somebody come in and
observe,
and watch
review.
Them. Yeah, but other than that, it's not required. And I just feel like that could really help the SUNY online program across the state if everybody is kind of meeting the same standards.
Yeah, and I understand what you're saying. I think one of the things is that a lot of that is a campus decision as opposed to a system decision. But one of the things that we try to do is provide the resources to help campuses with that. So again, using OSCAR, even if so OSCAR is not just for course development. It is right for initial course development. It can also be used as a great rubric to take a course that exists and match it against the OSCAR rubric to see how to improve that course, revise and refresh.
And that's what we do. My course or my program is fully 100% online. And so we have 11 courses that make up that program, and we have them on a 3-year review. So every 3 years, every course in our program has to go through a formal OSCAR review. That's something that but I also come from a program that has outside accreditation outside of Middle State. So we have to meet those measures as well.
Sure.
And, but I know that a lot of the online programs, at least on Rockport campus, it's not something that is done to make sure that best practices are kept up on. And these courses are often handed off, kind of adopted or inherited by new faculty as they're getting hired. And again, if they don't have that formal online training, they can make some changes into the course that could actually create accessibility issues for students.
Sure. Yeah, right. There are a lot of factors in that. Donna, did you have something to add to that?
Obviously there's other requirements by every campus that is different for this. And one of the things that we do on our campus is that we use the OSCAR rubric when we do our 6-week training for new faculty. And we also let them know that once they've taught their course fully online one time, we want them to go through these quality reviews. So it's part of our new faculty assessment and it's kind of voluntold, but because we can't say that it's required. We also have observations that are required. And the person that does our observations for our online classes are done every 3 years. And she has worked with us very closely with OSCAR. In fact, she used to be an OSCAR reviewer for us. She actually will recommend to them that they go back through and do an OSCAR review with us. We call it our peer review. So it's not something that you can enforce. It's just something that you can use as a tool and make recommendations. And I would recommend talking to like your provost or your VP of Academic Affairs and seeing what they can help do to support you to move forward to not really require it, but support that it's a good idea to go back through and use OSCAR after they've taught for a couple semesters and review their courses.
Now, what campus are you from, Donna?
Niagara County Community College.
Nice. Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Donna. One of the things I was thinking about, because you mentioned with folks transitioning during COVID, we did create a remote teaching checklist that was a kind of a quick way to get people to at least sort of like the minimum standards of quality course, right? Without going through a full review and refresh because people had to transition so quickly. But I do think that even though, it's using the word remote from back then and so forth, it is a really valuable tool for sort of a quick look at transitioning a course from in-person to online. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to put it in just one more time. So here's a link to that checklist, and it is all linked to the OSCAR rubric. So the specific standards that those activities align with are there for you. And again, this could just be a quick guide, and you can take something like this. All of our content is CC licensed, so you can certainly, adapt this to your own needs. And it does link you to some discipline-specific resources that were aggregated during the time of COVID, but we continue to expand on those. And to our online teaching handbook, which is the manual for online course design, which could also just be, an easy thing to hand off to new faculty. And that collaboration, though, between the faculty and their instructional designers is so important, to be able to have somebody there who can walk you through it, and also for the faculty to be, open to to some feedback on their courses. And again, OSCAR is intended to look at course design. It is not evaluative in any way about the actual teaching of the course. It's really just looking at the design of the course and is it set up for optimal student success. Other questions or comments?
Yeah, so this is Addie from SUNY Downstate.
Hi, Addie.
Yeah, hi, thank you. This was really wonderful. As I mentioned in the chart, I just learned. You mentioned that you do not have, or maybe you do. Do you have any evaluative sort of materials so that once you offer the course, you can go back and see if there's any area or need for improvement?
So I would say that the OSCAR rubric has been used that way, right? So that is probably our best resource for looking at, even after a course has been taught, okay, to go back and look at it before and after, right? So it's just like giving a student a rubric for an assignment, right? Okay. Then you use that rubric to assess that student. So OSCAR can be used exactly that way.
Okay, thank you.
And again, that's just oscar.suny.org or edu. Sorry. Let's grab OSCAR. There it is, oscar.suny.edu. And I think that this site is really comprehensive and can give you a little bit more information on that too.
Okay, thank you. This is great.
Good. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Any other final thoughts or questions? Oh, thanks, Donna. Yeah, so Niagara is using it for new faculty before they build a course, and then as peer review after they've taught it at least once.
Great.
And again, for campuses who maybe don't have the bandwidth or the folks to be able to do those, you can look at our course reviewer network. Those folks, if they have the little OSCAR certification badge, they are the ones who have said that they would be willing to review courses, against the OSCAR rubric. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.